All right, welcome into the show. It's time for my latest entry on my favorite presidents list, U.S. presidents. I may do world presidents one day, / prime ministers, just world leaders in general. But today, the entrant, as you can see in front of you, is James Earl Carter, Jimmy Carter. And let me just clarify for the slow. This isn't who I think is the best president, because I've done lists before, where I literally spent over, I think, 2 hours ranking, in a tier list, all the U.S. senators, and then some moron, some retard, comes in and says, criticizes the senator, why they're ranked too. I'm like, motherfucker, did you even watch? I literally said these are my favorite, not who I think is the best. You understand? I ain't having to break things down for stupid people. This is who I think who I think are my favorites. This has nothing to do with accomplishments or viability or any of that. James Earl Carter only got one term. He got blown the fuck out by Ronald Reagan. But I like who he was as a human being. There's some things, most things are bigger than the presidency. Anyways, but for the sake of this, we're going to talk about his accomplishments as well. Okay, foreign policy, but I want to talk about the real shit after this. We're going to watch a video too. Camp David Accords in 1978. Jimmy Carter achieved his greatest foreign policy success by negotiating a historic peace agreement between the Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin and Egyptian President Anwar Sadat. The talks took place over 13 days at Camp David and led to a peace treaty between Israel and Egypt in 1979. Doesn't that treaty still hold up to this day? Human rights. Carter reoriented U.S. foreign policy by prioritizing human rights. His administration reduced aid to governments with poor human rights records. I love that. We would never do that today. And as long as you, follow the U.S. line, do what we tell you to do, you get the world. But nobody cares about human rights. And champion, Jimmy Carter was the last, I feel like, good man that was president. Reagan was horrendous. I love George H.W. Bush as a person. George H.W. Bush was a good man. Bill Clinton, awful. George H.W. Bush, awful. Barack Obama, he's a good person. But, I don't know, man. Jimmy Carter he seemed real. Just genuinely good to the core. You know what I mean? You don't see Barack Obama and Joe Biden and George W. Bush out building houses for people. Jimmy Carter built houses with his bare hands, bro. He had a hammer out there building houses for Habitat for Humanity. Okay, this was a new emphasis for American diplomacy and drew significant attention to global human rights abuses. So before that, we didn't care about human rights. Just, are you giving us the oil? Just shit like that. Panama Canal treaties. Carter negotiated and secured the ratification of the Torrijos-Carter treaties, which transferred control of the Panama Canal to Panama by 1999. Trump wants it back. You're not getting it back, you dumb motherfucker. He hasn't even brought up the Panama Canal since he got in office. The decision was controversial but seen by supporters as a moral correction of past U.S. actions and a way to improve relations with Latin America. I'd take Jimmy Carter's corpse over Donald Trump. Normalization of relations with China. In 1979, the Carter administration completed a process of normalizing relations with the People's Republic of China and severed diplomatic ties with Taiwan. Interesting. I don't agree with either of those. Domestic policy. Department of Energy. Created in 1977, the department was established to address the nation's energy crisis. Carter's energy plan included goals to reduce oil imports and incentivize conservation of renewable energy. He did not reach those goals. He tried. Department of Education in 1979, the oil lobby was just way too strong in 1979 to do any of that. In 1979, Carter signed legislation establishing the Department of Education as a cabinet-level agency. He did a lot. This move consolidated various federal education-related functions into one single department. Do people even know he was the Department of Education? Environmental protection. EPA was given to us by something Nixon signed, shockingly. Carter signed a significant environmental legislation, including the Alaska National Interest Lands Conservation Act, which doubled the size of the national park system and tripled wilderness areas. That's huge. As an environmentalist, that's huge. In 1980, he signed the Comprehensive Environmental Response, Compensation, and Liability Act, also known as the Superfund Act, to clean up toxic waste. We still use those superfunds. I read about them all the time. Deregulation. The Carter administration pursued deregulation in several industries, including energy. I disagree with all this. Transportation and finance to spur competition and economic growth. I disagree with all that. I don't care about economic growth, or I care about competition, but you can't deregulate. I disagree with all deregulation. Regulation exists for a reason. As the saying goes, every regulation was written in blood. Somebody died. Somebody suffered for those regulations to be put in place to save people in the future from suffering. And when you deregulate, you fuck everything up. Disagree. Post-presidency, humanitarian work. Many consider Carter's post-presidency accomplishments to be even more impeccable. I agree. That's time, like I said, most things are bigger than the presidency. Being a good human being, bigger than the presidency. And Carter was the best man that ever inhabited that office. I'm convinced. For decades, he and his wife, Rosalind, were known for their hands-on volunteer work for Habitat for Humanity. Like I said, he built houses with his hands. Founded in 1982, the nonprofit, the Carter Center, has worked to advance human rights, resolve international conflicts, and combat diseases in more than 80 countries. Nobel Peace Prize, something Trump will never get. Carter was awarded a prize for his decades of work seeking peaceful solutions to international conflicts, advancing democracy and human rights, and promoting economic and social development. James Earl Carter, I would imagine he's in heaven right now. Donald Trump, you won't be going. Sorry. All right, here's Jimmy Carter's solar panels. He was the first president to put solar panels on the White House roof. And, of course, when Reagan came in office, he took them down. He's a fucking monster. Who's in hell? Does that offend you? Suck my dick. Anyways. Never apologize for my language. You can kiss it. There's Jimmy Carter with the fuck all bruised up and old, broken down, something Trump would never do. I keep comparing him to Trump because Trump's the devil. Jimmy Carter's the closest thing to a saint that has ever occupied this office. And he shows what a president and what a man is. Donald Trump could have learned a lot, but I don't think he was even capable of learning what being decent is like. There's Jimmy and Rosalind, united in heaven right now. All right, we're going to watch this from Democracy Now! I really highly doubt Amy Goodman will come after me for copyright. She's one of my favorite people. But if she did come after me, I couldn't imagine it, but no longer be a fan. And I'd hate to have to do that. But I watch Democracy Now! Every day. I love me some Amy Goodman. Amy Goodman is mommy. And seriously, here, let's listen to this fucking, Jimmy Carter interview from 2007.
By viewers like you. Please support our work at democracynow.org/give.
Soulshine by the Allman Brothers Band. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace
I think this is my best Kush's favorite president's entry so far. I've thoroughly enjoyed this one. I think I got all my stuff in, and you're going to enjoy this.
I'm Nareen Sheikh in New York, joined by Amy Goodman in Cairo. Former President Jimmy Carter died Sunday at his home in Plains, Georgia. He was 100 years old. The 39th president served a single tumultuous term in the White House from 1977 to 1981.
Jimmy Carter did not get a fair shake.
Man of deeply held
you people, he's just like Joe Biden. Like, you people just hated him for no fucking reason, and then you go to a right-wing monster after that, a rapist. I've read rape accusation against Ronald Reagan.
Negotiate a landmark peace deal.
He raped a fucking woman the day before his wedding
between Israel and Egypt that holds to this day.
The fucking monster.
Carter was also a committed cold
just
warrior
like Donnie Dumbass, a rapist.
To the Afghan Mujahideen to fight the Soviet Union in 1979. He continued to support right-wing authoritarian governments in Latin America and beyond.
Why does America hate decent presidents? You had Barack Obama, then you go to Donnie Dumbass. You had Joe Biden, then you go to Donnie Dumbass. You had Jimmy Carter, then you go to Ronald Reagan. Why does America hate decent people as president? Why do you like monsters? What's wrong with you? That's what I would ask these dumb motherfuckers that vote for Republicans. What's wrong with you? Who raised you? Stupid? Stupid and immoral.
Austerity politics also hastened the Democratic Party's neoliberal turn, further cemented by his defeat to Ronald Reagan in 1980. In retirement, he devoted himself to causes including election integrity and building homes for low-income people. In 2006, he stirred controversy with his book Palestine, Peace, Not Apartheid, in which he compared Israel's treatment of Palestinians to...
I own that book. 275 of the greatest pages I've ever, my eyes have ever, I ever laid my eyes on. I've read it twice. I recommend you read it at least once. It will be life changing for you. It's not that long. Like I said, 275 pages if you include like the index and foreword. But it's amazing.
South Africa's former racist government. As we begin our look back
Probably my
at
favorite
Carter's
book.
life and legacy this week, Amy, you did a series
Last pause. I just got thoughts. It's either that is my favorite book or Listen Liberal by Thomas Frank. They both changed my life.
interviews with President Carter.
Yes, I did. And this is a clip we're going to play from an interview I did with him in 2007 on his book, Palestine, Peace, Not Apartheid.
No more pause. I'm going to water my
I wanted
plants.
to switch gears
It's
to
serving
talk
this earth.
about the raging controversy over your book, Palestine, Peace, Not Apartheid.
I didn't know it was still raging, but that's interesting.
Well, it raged for a while, and now the book is coming out in paperback with a new afterword, and you dealt with that. You talked about it being perhaps the most controversial thing that you've done, maybe to your surprise. So start with the title. Talk about the message you're trying to put out with this book.
Well, the message is very clear. It deals with Palestine. You're not inside Israel itself, just the Palestinian occupied territories. And the second word is peace. I describe in this book the efforts for peace so far and my formula, which I think is very reasonable, for bringing peace to Israel and to Israel's neighbors. And I repeat that over and over with a strong condemnation of any kind of terrorism that afflicts innocent people by the actions of either the Palestinians or the Israelis. And the word apartheid is exactly accurate. You know, this is an area that's occupied by two powers.
I love my plants.
They're not completely separated. The Palestinians can't even ride on the same roads that the Israelis have created or built in Palestinian territory. The Israelis never see a Palestinian except their Israeli soldiers. The Palestinians never see an Israeli except at a distance, except the Israeli soldiers. So within Palestinian territory,
I
they're
watched this interview like 30 fucking times.
separated. Much worse than they were in South Africa, by the way.
You speak
And the other
fast.
thing is, the other definition of apartheid is one side dominates the other. And the
definition of
Israelis completely
apartheid is
dominate
being apart.
the life of the Palestinian people.
I call it apart
Why
hate.
don't Americans know what you have seen?
Americans don't want to know. And many Israelis don't want to know what is going on inside Palestine. It's a terrible human rights persecution that is far transcends what any outsider would imagine. And there are powerful political forces in America that prevents any objective analysis of the problem in the Holy Land. I think it's accurate to say that not a single member of Congress with whom I'm familiar would possibly speak out and call for Israel to withdraw to their legal boundaries or to publicize the plight of the Palestinians, or even to call publicly and repeatedly for good faith peace talks. There hadn't been a day of peace talks now in more than 7 years. So this is a taboo subject, and I would say that if any member of Congress did speak out, as I just described, they would probably not be back in the Congress the next term.
Who are these forces that you're talking about?
Well, there's an inherent commitment in America, which I share as a Christian, of a deep commitment to make sure that Israel is safe and that Israel is free, and that they can seek for peace. So there's a strong inclination for all of us to support Israel's continued existence in peace. And that is added onto by the very effective work of the American-Israeli group called AIPAC, which is performing its completely legitimate task of convincing Americans to support the policies of the
I
Israelis.
disagree that AIPAC is legitimate. Jimmy Carter, man, he's just such a politician.
the government.
This shit here,
And,
fucking foreign,
AIPAC is
goddamn lobby.
dedicated
Need to be listed as
peace.
such.
They're dedicated
Was
to
it FARA?
inducing the maximum
Foreign
support in America.
Agent Registration
in the White House,
Act?
in the Congress, and in the public media.
Why is APAC not registered under
for
FARA?
policies the Israeli government
Tell me
has
that shit.
At a particular time, and they're extremely effective.
Is it
Former
Jews? Are
President
they
Jimmy Carter
special?
on
I don't
Democracy
think
Now!
so.
in 2007. Watch all our interviews
All right,
with him.
anyway, there you go. There's James Earl Carter, one of my favorite presidents. Miss him every day. And we have these just complete opposite in the White House, right? Just a full demon. And it just breaks my heart that America could be that immoral and that stupid. See ya.